Ha ha ha! We're back! And possibly we'll be completing the case this time. But it's been a longer case than I would have thought. Not over long, but a little longer, just a smidge. I think we were interrogating the blind gentleman. Which I can't. Canis or Cadus. Kind of reminds me of Canine. Canis Canine, since he has a dog. Video analysis. Sure, why not? Tell us how to analyze video. Alright. So basically, you just gotta do what you always do. Examine anything that catches your eye. I can examine things with triangle. You pounce on left and right, let you rewind or fast forward. Oh, I didn't need this. I could just guess this. Oh, this seems kind of cool. And square to zoom out. Okay. Footage from Knight's holding cell. Other than the victim being attacked by that dog, I can't see what else it might show us. But suppose we're wrong. What could we be looking at instead?
The monkey that attacked him? I don't know, because I don't think that dog is huge.
I know.
Whatever got on his face is not as huge as that dog.
Like, he would have fell backwards if that dog jumped on him. You know, it wouldn't just been on his face.
Standing on his hind legs can lick its owner's face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And make him do the evil smile. What could whatever's attacking them be something else too? I should keep both questions in mind while reviewing the footage. You never know what you're gonna see once you start looking. So now we're gonna be able to zoom in. What in the footage seems odd?
We can't exactly see who that is either.
Yeah, I mean, is that Let's see.
Ooh, see it? Look at there.
Yeah, that's not the same dog. Sir, look, I suspect we may have made a critical error of judgment. Yeah, that thing looks friendly. What we're looking at here is no dog. This animal is
Looks like a bear.
a small bear? Like a tiny bear? We're sure it's not a black cat? Well, it doesn't look like a cat either.
I think it's a bear.
Okay, it's gotta be a small bear, though. That's not a dog, it's a bear. What? So the paw prints from the photo I took, so it's like a bear cub.
Yeah, that's one too.
We're not canine, but ursine. Is it ursine or ursine? A bear. So could that mean... Yes, I think it could. After all, who else do we know with such a pet? And if we were mistaken about the creature in the footage, it's not inconceivable that we were mistaken about the person in the footage, too.
Oh, there's his own bear.
Yeah,
And nobody's getting attacked. It's his dad in there.
it's his dad, and the bear's like, yay, hi, dude. Maybe there's something in there that could prove it, sir. Something that shows it was Knight? You're right. We can't see the person's face, which means a direct identification out of the question. Perhaps there's something that can tell us who they are indirectly. Indirectly, like the mirror. Yes, certainly worth a look, that's what I was gonna say. Whoops. I meant to zoom in.
Can you see something in the mirror?
We'll be able to soon. What is that? Doesn't look like hands.
Is it his glove? Like his boxing glove?
I think so.
Kidding.
Okay. It looks like a cop's hat.
Is it his uniform?
Yeah, that could be it. The figure is reflected in the mirror here, too. What is that, a hat? Say, doesn't that look like the hats the guards wear, sir? Ah, geez, is that what I think it is? Have there been any reports of one of the animals attacking a guard recently? Not that I've heard of. So this may not be a guard at all, but somebody dressed as one. Perhaps this might shed light on the matter. Yes, indeed.
Take that!
So no guards have reported being attacked by an animal as far as we know, but we did hear about a guard's spare uniform being stolen. Could the person in the security footage perhaps be someone disguised as a guard? Someone attempting to escape without being noticed. A guard disguise? I guess it might work. Wait, weren't we just talking about someone? We were indeed someone who seemed to have successfully made his escape. We had assumed that it was night in the security footage. Well, it was his cell. It's hardly a crazy theory. Perhaps, but now that we know about the hole under the bed, it is no longer the only possibility. Whoever had access to the tunnel could very well be the one caught on camera. And who was that, Mr. Edgeworth? Would you care to tell the court who you believe this person to be? The person in the security footage is...
Take that!
Rocco. I believe I know who our guard in disguise is. It is none other than Rocco Carcerato, the prisoner who recently escaped from this facility. I'm confident it's him because he was assigned a polar bear cub as his companion. But the bear in that video is all black. Indeed, and we have evidence that explains why. I was gonna say, why is it so dark? But what do we have exactly? Let's see.
Is it dirty to go through the hole? Or is it shot in infrared and we're seeing it the opposite? I think it's because he went through the dirty hole. He's muddy, he's not white.
Oh, the mud. Well, he's got... the paws are in black, so... yeah, I think you might be right. Nope.
I thought it was a good idea.
I think you're overthinking it, probably. Mr. Sod could have given it one of his treatments, right? So, something about mud pies. Recall, if you will, Mr. Frank Sott's testimony. There we go. I remember him saying that. Huh. I didn't connect that. While the circus performance was underway, he was giving one of the animals a mud pack treatment. And that animal could have been, indeed, our polar bear. Mr. Edgeworth, your latest assertion simply introduces yet another contradiction. The footage from the security camera. I fully understand, Your Honor, and your doubts are entirely justified. Mr. Sod mentioned applying the mud pack while the circus performance was underway, and this does indeed introduce a new contradiction concerning the security footage. It does? Yes, let's put it this way. When would you expect the footage to have been recorded, Kay? If it was taken right after he applied the mud pack treatment, it should have been around 9 a.m., in which case something isn't right about the footage. Really? And what's that? What new contradiction was the security footage introduced relative to when it was recorded? Ah. Take that! Mr. Sod said he administered the treatment at around 9 a.m., in which case the security footage should also show a time around 9. However, the timestamp says 6:42 a.m. On the day of the murder, the prisoners all went out to the yard to watch the circus. All except 3, Mr. Canis, who remained in his cell in maximum security, Mr. Sod, who was administering a mud pack treatment in the workshop, and Rocco Carcerado, who had been awaiting that precise moment to put his escape plan into action. I believe he entrusted the bear to Mr. Sod before entering the tunnel. The bear then slipped out of Mr. Sod's grasp to run after his human. Mr. Sod would have then left the workshop to pursue the bear, at which point he saw Mr. Canis' dog retrieving the murder weapon from Knight's body. It all fits perfectly except for the security footage, which should have been recorded from around 9 a.m. However, the timestamp is 3 hours off. Why would the timestamp be wrong? Detective, I would like you to have the security camera examined right away, please. I'm back, sir. I just talked to the guards, and seems that the time codes can slip on these cameras if they lose power. What? They're pretty old, sir. I guess the clock stops when the power is off. Which would mean the power was off for approximately 3 hours at some point. That's not all, sir. You remembered how Knight denied stealing the keys? No one believed him considering, well, you know, he seemed kind of like the only suspect. Turns out that wasn't all he said. He also said he was knocked out cold just like the other guy. Which may not necessarily have been a lie. Darlings, there you all are. How goes the investigation? Is there anything I can do to help things along? Actually, there might be something we can do for you, Warden Lagarde. The escapee, Mr. Carcerado, I believe he may still be on the premises. He is disguised as a guard. Here's the proof should you need it. We're reasonably certain that the person captured on this tape is our man. And if I am correct, he might even be right here in this room with us now. Hey, Mr. Carcerado would have been wearing a bracelet, right? He has a bracelet that could have easily been hidden under the sleeves of a stolen uniform. The doors out of the prison proper don't have those sensors that detect the bracelets installed. So if he avoided doors with sensors, he could simply wait for an opportunity to finally make his escape. Well, yes, I suppose he could. He'd just have to avoid the workshops and the cells, and oh my. He's one of you, isn't he? He's here right now.
Who's there?
Look, it's Teddy. Uh-oh. Hey, pause off. Get your mitts off of me, you big palooka. Thank you, Teddy. Very kind of you to confirm our suspicions. Arrgh! Dang it, kid, if it wasn't for you, what a thing it is to be loved. Huh, Mr. Carcerado? I'm almost envious. Guards, apprehend this man. A moment, if you will. I have some questions for our would-be escapee. If we are to learn the truth, I will need to speak with him, with your permission, of course. I can hardly say no now, can I? Well, come on then. Hit me with your best shot. Mr. Carcerado's escape route led directly into Knight's cell, so it's highly possible he has something to offer. Tell me what you were doing on the day Mr. Knight's body was discovered. I'd like to know motive, too, if it's him. So it was you guys, huh? You're the ones who found my secret getaway tunnel. You know how long it took me to dig that frickin' thing? I had me a guard's uniform, a hole dug, and a plan in place, so I went for it on the day you found the guy. Then this little guy just had to come right after me. The sack of fur was covered in mud, too. Had to go back to our cell. Alright, I would have gotten away with it if somebody hadn't offered off nine and brought you bums down here. So is he saying he didn't do it?
Yeah.
So he was gonna escape in the guard uniform. The muddy bear came, and that would have been very distracting and revealing, and so he had to wait to do his plan. You claim to have dug that tunnel just now. How exactly did you do it? How? Used everything I could get my hands on. See? Hammers, spoons, you name it. Spent every dime I had on this cockamamie fixer. And what do I got to show for it now, huh? Heh. Do not be disheartened, friend. Tomorrow is another day. There's an outside chance Mr. Carcerado and Knight met face-to-face just before Knight's death. I should see what other details I can extract from him. So the tunnel was all your own work. Every inch. You see anybody else in my cell when you was there? That's quite an effort, even for an athlete. Yeah, now that I think of it, that is an insane amount of digging for one guy. Well, yeah, well, you don't even know the half of it, kid. But it ain't like I had a choice. Trust nobody and don't get caught. Them's the rules a con's gotta live by. You know, the rules of being a great thief are pretty similar. Okay, I'd rather you didn't start sympathizing with the suspect. I was just joking, Mr. Edgeworth. It ain't no stinking joke to me, you punks owe me.
Hold it!
The uniform, was that from the fixer too? Sure was. Heard he had something on one of the guards. Had the guy swipe it from a pal's locker. And were you wearing it when you were crawling through the tunnel? Nope, would've got dirt on it. Had to hold on to it till I got to the holding cell. But once I was out of there and all dressed up, opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake. Here we go, I thinks. Freedom beckons, and then the furball here jumps up at me. Which will be the moment captured on camera. I see, I'd be grateful if you could add that to your testimony.
Hold it!
Opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake, you say? Sure, anything seems easy after dragging yourself through a hole in the ground. And you are familiar with the layout of the detention center even though you live in the prison? Why wouldn't I be? It ain't like I never been there before. If he's familiar with the detention center, then he'd surely be aware that unlike the doors in the main prison, the holding cell doors are locked with actual keys. And I'm sure Mr. Carcerado would have needed that particular piece of evidence to make his escape. I was thinking that. Okay. And these are missing, though. Yet to be recovered.
Objection!
You claim that leaving the holding cell would have been a piece of cake, as you put it. Yeah, you got a problem with that? Because we could make it a problem if you catch my drift. Even once you had reached Knight's cell, you still had another door to contend with. How exactly did you plan on opening it? Mr. Carcerado, I posit that leaving the cell would have been a piece of cake only because you had the key. I don't got no stinking key. I didn't need one. It was a piece of cake because the door was open, I walked right out. Yes, I suppose Knight's cell was vacant by that point. There would have been no reason to lock it. And it was indeed unlocked when I went to examine it for myself. So perhaps when you finally succeeded today, it truly was unlocked because it was after the murder. But you had attempted to escape previously. Yeah, the security footage shows when you tried and failed because Teddy caught you. Which was during the circus performance before the body was discovered. The holding cell was still locked at that time because no one knew that Knight had been killed yet. Therefore, you must have had the key to his cell on you. Without it, your escape would not have been possible. Are you saying, could he really have? I believe he could, yes. The theft of the keys was, in fact, perpetrated by none other than Mr. Carcerado. He is the one who attacked the guard. Not just the guard, Knight too. All to gain possession of the guard's keys. It wasn't me, a lousy bum. I didn't even know this Knight guy. After you stole the keys, you went back to your cell to avoid suspicion. And then you waited for the perfect moment to escape. A moment when the prison would be almost deserted. That's right, the moment of the show, just before the discovery of the body. Unluckily for you, that particular attempt was thwarted by your furry friend. Says who, huh? You got proof, genius? This ain't your win yet. Nuh-uh. Knight knocked the guard out for the count and everyone knows it. Don't play games with me. Knight was as much a victim as the guard in this case. As a matter of fact, I have proof that Knight had been attacked in his cell. The blood?
Huh?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that!
We found traces of Knight's blood on the cleanly white floor of his cell. What could possibly explain such a thing other than him having been attacked? And it was you who attacked him. You ambushed the both of them and stole the keys. Why I oughta... What, is the air punching him during these reactions? What's with you, huh? That newspaper wiped that blood up good. Ain't no way you should have found it. Okay, but why did you think you had to wipe it up anyway? If they checked 9 in the guard's hands, they would have seen those two never came to blows. But that blood would give up the whole game. Ain't no way they don't figure there was a third man in the ring. Once they started sniffing around on the floor, they'd have found the tunnel and the heartbeat. Well, that makes sense. Oh no, if they checked 9 in the guard's hands, they would have seen they never came to blows, but the blood would have given up the whole game. Oh yeah, because they never came to blows, and blood was there, that would have been very peculiar. So you want the blood to buy yourself a little more time so you can wait for a better opportunity. Sadly, the opportunity you sought wasn't good enough to get you clear of the prison, it seems. Now hand over the keys. Right in the kisser. Dang, dude. KO'd by a lousy, stinking bum. Fine, you want keys? Here, I hope you choke on them.
Overruled.
Wait a moment, Mr. Carcerado here had the keys. Indeed, Your Honor. Your theory relies on Knight having used the keys he allegedly stole to escape his cell. That was the only way he would have been able to enter Mr. Saint's cage and be moved to the workshop. Unfortunately for you, we now know the theory cannot possibly be true. Aye! No! Guess this changes things up a bit, yeah? Now the only person who couldn't move Knight's body is the one person who knew about that tunnel. No, you gotta be freaking... Mr. Carcerado, you're under arrest. Come quietly now, pal. Wait, you got the wrong guy, I didn't do nothing. Alright, fine, knock those two chumps out, and I stole the keys. But after that, I went right back to my cell and waited for my moment. Next time I went to Knight's cell, there was nobody around, and I mean no body. Plus, his body was found in the workshop. You think I just magicked my way in there or something? I couldn't even have gotten out of my cell. Indeed, you only had the key to Knight's cell. You couldn't have left your own cell back in the prison. But Mr. Canis' dog could. What? It was not you, but Helmut who moved the body from your cell to the workshop. I get it now. You're saying he wasn't the only con in this conspiracy. Indeed, one can easily imagine that Mr. Carcerado and Mr. Canis might have worked together. Mr. Carcerado could have killed Knight and dragged him back to his cell, and then Mr. Canis' dog took him from there to the workshop. There are no restrictions on the animal's movements within the prison. Movement between the detention center and the prison proper, however, is tightly controlled. There was only one possible route, and only you could have taken advantage of it, Mr. Carcerado. How can you be so sure, huh? Maybe there's more of them and you just don't know. Something tells me that digging even a single tunnel was arduous enough. You got that right. You try scraping more than one hole in the dirt with a spoon. Lucky for me, I didn't have to dig the whole way. Somebody already did a bunch of the work for me. Yeah, you didn't dig the entire tunnel yourself? No, found it when they put me in the cell. Ran all the way from there to the well in the yard already. Even looked down the well to check it from there. It was the same tunnel, all right. I just made good on what somebody else already started. Then what was the original tunnel for? Who knows? You're the one with all the answers, pal. Maybe somebody else tried to break out. Ooh, or maybe the animals dug it. Like to get water from the well or something. I've heard of more plausible scenarios than that in B-grade movies, Kay. Well's dry, kid. Ain't no water to be had down here. Though, come to think of it. Smell. Yeah, always smell kind of nice down there. Nice? Gee, I don't know. Smells sort of like dessert, I guess. Yeah, we saw that. Or smelled that. A sweet scent, that sounds very familiar. Where did we come across a sweet scent? There we go. Mr. Knight's body.
Take that!
Such a gumshoe noticed a sweet smell when we were examining Knight's body. With the help of a police dog, we followed the scent of the body and traced its route back through the prison. And that, Mr. Carcerado, was how we found your tunnel. Could that same sweet scent be what you noticed coming from the well? Very clever, Mr. Edgeworth. You mean to suggest that this evidence of the body having been moved through the tunnel? This is evidence of the body having been moved. I do. Furthermore, Mr. Carcerado, you were the only person who could have done it. Nobody else had access. You have our thanks, Mr. Carcerado. Truly. Finally, the truth comes into view. Now unburden yourself. It is time. Confess your role in this tragic incident. What? You ain't pinning this on me. I'm glad to see that we are finally in agreement, Your Honor. Oh, if only we were, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Carcerado may have been an accomplice, but not of Mr. Canis. No, he was working with Mr. Knight. What do you mean? I do not believe that he moved Mr. Knight's body. Instead, I believe that he lent Mr. Knight the use of the keys he stole. You've got to be kidding me. Granted, it seems likely that he attacked Mr. Knight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Mr. Knight was knocked unconscious as a result. And what if he wasn't? What if he and Mr. Carcerado had reached a certain agreement? What kind of agreement exactly? Mr. Knight was plotting an escape for which he required a means of leaving his cell. And here was that precise means in the form of the keys Mr. Carcerado had just stolen from the guard. Mr. Carcerado himself would need to pass through Mr. Knight's cell in order to effect his own escape. Mr. Knight needed only to shout and alert the guards, and Mr. Carcerado's plans would be ruined. And so, the two struck a deal. Lady, the only striking I do is with my fists. My, still you deny it? So, we're agreeing that we still disagree? Mr. Knight had Mr. Carcerado unlock his cell, though when so that when Mr. Saint arrived, he could escape the cell, into the cage. Mr. Saint was then able to move him into the prison proper just as planned. Aha! And then he took Mr. Knight into the workshop and did the dirty deed. Were neither of you listening? The scent on Knight's body proves that it was taken through the tunnel. It was moved from his cell to the... Perhaps if you would let me finish, Mr. Edgeworth. I am not denying that Mr. Knight's body was moved through the tunnel. Then what are you driving at? Is this a trick question? As you say, Mr. Edgeworth, the sweet scent shows throughout the body took. However, it did not enter the tunnel from Mr. Knight's cell. Then how did it get down there? There is another possibility, one you seem to have overlooked. The well in the yard. Could a body not have entered the tunnel from there? The well in the yard? Oh yeah, that thing. Mr. Saint did not take the cage to the workshop, he took it outside. There he killed Mr. Knight, and threw his body down the well. Mr. Cadis's dog then dragged Mr. Knight's body here to his owner's cell from the bottom of the well. On that note, I would ask you to recall something. What was happening in the yard at the approximate time of the body's discovery? The circus show, right? Regina and Simeon were performing for everyone. Wait, Simeon! Indeed. And so you see how it must also have been him who disposed of the body. Judge Gavel is truly a formidable opponent. She just so effortlessly adjusted her theory to fit the facts. I propose that Mr. Knight was taken to the yard, not the workshop. And as we have established, Mr. Saint was off stage for 15 minutes. Ample time to throw the body down the well, I am sure you would agree. Your deduction is impressive, Your Honor. However, even supposing that Knight's body was indeed thrown down the well, you cannot conclusively say that it was during the show. It could have happened at a different time. My sympathies, Mr. Edgeworth, but it simply could not have. What? Mr. Carcerado was using the tunnel at around the time the show began. Mr. Carcerado, did you happen to trip over a corpse while you were down there? No. The place was clean. If the body had been at the bottom of the well before the show began, Mr. Carcerado would have seen it. However, he saw no such thing. Which makes it somewhat difficult to support your theory. Furthermore, Mr. Knight's body was discovered in the workshop after the show. In summary, the body must have been thrown down the well and moved to the workshop at some point during the show. Tell me, who else could have done it but Mr. Saint? No. Well, what do we do, Mr. Edgeworth? Spaghetti-o. If the body did indeed enter the tunnel from the well, things don't look good for Mr. Saint. Still, Your Honor, your theory is still just that, a theory, and I posit that you lack the evidence to back it up. I concede that for the moment I do not. May I suggest that we investigate the yard again? Very well. May the goddess of justice go with you. Now then, to the yard. Perhaps we can finally put this case to rest.
Uh-oh.
What's that sound? Yikes, is that a fire? Did somebody else escape? Should we maybe skip town too? Darlings, please, there's nothing to be alarmed about. By which I mean, that's not an alarm, it's the dinner bell. Although I suppose it is rather alarming if you aren't used to it. It certainly scared the heck out of me. I'm so sorry, sweet pea. I hope you could forgive us. Alright, you two, back to your post, chop chop. As for you, Rocco Carcerado, it's time you went back to your room. Ugh, fine, I get the picture. Come on, Teddy, we're out of here. Warden Lagarde, we'd like to take one more look around the yard now. Oh, darlings, don't you have homes of your own to go to? Visiting hours are over, I'm afraid. Tomorrow, No, it's imperative that we investigate it right away. I think we've had quite an excitement for one day, don't you? Murderers, escapees, so eventful. It's time our guests went home to Betty Buys, isn't it? Yes, it is. Come on now, darling. Don't make me bore you with all that I'm a warden, this is an order nonsense. Warden Lagarde is right. Her word is law here, and we must respect her wishes. Mr. Edgeworth, your investigation of the yard will have to wait until tomorrow. You may keep your badge for now. The matter of your standing can wait. I bid you all good day. What are you waiting for, kittykins? Off you go. Fine, at least there is a tomorrow for me. Judge Cavell believes that Knight's body was dropped down the well, and then taken through Mr. Carcerado's cell to the workshop. But is that truly the case? Do the facts really support her theory? She also seems to believe Mr. Saint had to be the one to move the body. But was he really the only one with the opportunity to do so? Come on, Mr. Edgeworth, tomorrow's another day. We'll figure out a way to save Simeon. I know we will. Yes, we will. I will prove that Mr. Saint is innocent beyond a shadow of a doubt.
This is a good spot. I'm getting a little...
You getting a little tired? Man, we got some ways to go.
How long did we play for? Like a half hour?
Yeah, I don't think we played for too terribly long for this one. 37 minutes. Okay. Well, we got to make sure we're good for tonight since it's New Year's Eve. Okay. We will recreate the crime scene apparently next time. So we still don't really know who did it, if it was Carcerado and Canis.
And it's just starting to get weird. Now we have like a well involved, but like, oh, unless they wrapped you in the tarps, because his body wasn't that bad. You know
No.
what I mean?
And maybe that's where the tarps came from. Yeah, that's why they were used. So we will see.